can Queen Elizabeth II's reign teach us about family karma and generational wounds? Queen Elizabeth's reign was born from brotherly rift, and it ended in brotherly rift. In 1936, when Queen Elizabeth was 10 years old, her uncle, King Edward VIII, abdicated, and the crown was then passed to his younger brother, Elizabeth's father, King George VI. The reason why he left was because he wanted to marry this woman, an American divorcee called Wallis Simpson. This was catastrophic for the brothers' relationship. George never forgave his brother. This turned his life and the life of his family upside down. Lady Elizabeth, who was never meant to be queen, all of a sudden found herself first in line to the throne. And then 70 years later, we see this playing out again. Fortunately, this time round, it was the spare that decided to resign. And despite this being slightly easier circumstances, we got these kids not learning their lessons. Now let's discuss astrological patterns. So as you can see, King George, Elizabeth's father, has Jupiter conjunct the midheaven, as does her grandson, Prince William. Jupiter is the planet of expansion and luck. It's very honorable energy. It's very noble. It's very likable. These guys are popular. King Edward has a harder time. With his south node in the same sign as his Saturn, he's very burdened early on in life. He does not want this job. With the north node in selfish Aries, right next to Mars, which rules Aries, he's gonna follow his heart or his dick. This north node in Aries conjunct Mars, it does indicate escape and freedom. However, south node and Saturn always called him back. Saturn is Big Daddy, always collects his debts, and always gives out pocket money. While the North Node conjunct Mars in Aries was going to give him that freedom, that escape, he was always going to be tethered to that 8th house Saturn. Now, Harry has his North Node in Taurus, and it's near his moon. It's not as selfish as the North Node in Aries conjunct Mars. This is more about family. This one, although perceived as more selfish, is more about him becoming a father and protecting his private world. But he still finds himself in a very similar predicament as his great uncle Edward. His North Node is in the same sign as his Saturn in Scorpio in the 10th house. Duty will always call. And while he's not receiving the pocket money that his great uncle did, he will always have to go back to his job. He will be forever ping-ponging between his North Node and his South Node. The North Node being the family that he created, and the South Node being the family business. Stay tuned for part 2, where I discuss how Queen Elizabeth tried to heal these family wounds.